Hello, hello, hello. We are online, and it's such a great pleasure to be in contact with you. And today is a wonderful day, another wonderful day, another Sunday, another opportunity to learn, to grow, and become a better person. So, today we are going to have a conversation with the winner of the AI Award, the 2025 AI Champion Award. But before then, we're going to be talking to one of the judges of the AI Champion Award. These are the awards, the Make Education Fashionable Awards that happened yesterday in Pretoria. And many of you were at the event. And I hope you had a great time at the Make Education Fashionable Awards yesterday. I had an amazing time. We had awesome people joining us. We got to network with the finest of the continent, and we made friends. Actually, the most amazing thing is meeting people that we always talk to online. Okay, people that that I normally see only online. And yesterday, we got to meet them face to face. We got to meet them face to face yesterday during the Make Education Fashionable. And I hope next year you will get to join us. As usual, we wait a little bit for enough of you to join the session, and then I will invite one of the judges to join me online. But first, I don't like them to come into a room that's empty, so that's why I want us to wait a little bit so that you join the room. So I want to start by telling you what happened yesterday. We had award winners for 5 categories, and then the 6th category was the person who won the most inspirational and trending story for the Make Education Fashionable campaign. All right. Call your friends, call your neighbors and colleagues, tell them we're here. What happened at the awards is that we had planned that each awardee will win 10,000 rands, and then we'll refund their travel costs. But of course, in the way that God works, one of the funders came in last minute, and so rather than keeping the money, we decided to increase the price to 20,000 rands, and then we don't refund their travel costs. We paid them 20,000 rands. Many of them, all of them, their travel costs were less than 5,000 rands anyway. We gave them the price of 20,000 rands, and our view is that if we nominate people and we select them as the best, as deserving of awards, we have to get into the habit of giving them cash money. Because what is the point of saying to people, you're the best of the best, here's an award, and you give them nothing? And maybe they borrowed money to even come to the occasion where you are recognizing them. So our view is that we've got to at least consider that and give them money. And so we increased the prize money to 20,000 rands. That's not to say that's the end of it. Of course, we are hoping that they use that money wisely, whether it's to fund their organizations, whether it's to pay for their mentorship programs, participation. It's up to them. But it was such an amazing thing to meet the people, everyone who was nominated, who was there. It was such a great pleasure to meet you, and I'm so glad that you made time to be at the event yesterday. Everyone who attended, people who came in their gowns, and also Boyd's Regalia, who was there to rent out their gown. Of course, Boyd's Regalia is a company that's owned by a young black South African who's hustling, who's a graduate and is hustling, and we supported him yesterday. We have our own gowns, but we came there with that no gown and we rented from him. And I hope he made a bit of money for himself. And we looked good, all of us in our regalia. We had the procession. And so I want to say thank you to everyone who attended the event yesterday. And thank you to all the nominees who honored our appointment to be there, just in case we call their name. By the way, I had not read the nominations. I don't even know what the detail of your nominations were. I didn't even know who was nominated. I just said to my staff, make sure that everyone who's nominated is invited, they have a free ticket, and they can attend. I didn't know who won. Nobody knew except our auditing wing of the company. And they gave the person who announced the awardee an envelope at the beginning, at the time of naming the winner. But we had no idea who won. So I want to say thank you to our judges. We had an international panel of judges. Each category, each award had its own judges. And our judges were from all over the world. We had judges from India, from Nigeria, from the US, from Canada, from from all over the continent, Namibia, and from South Africa. And so it was a representative panel of judges. Some judges were professors, some are practitioners, some are senior executives who dish out money for startups or make decisions about who gets what in terms of supporting entrepreneurs or AI practitioners, or even people who are engaged in research. So, and I want to say thank you to all of you judges who helped us to make the decision as to who wins. And in terms of the most inspirational story online, I want to thank the Perspicuity team who said, walking through all the stories of people who wrote on social media, on LinkedIn, on TikTok, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. They read stories, they checked, the criteria was that 60% is on the level of inspiration and 40% is on the number of likes. So it can't just be inspiring, but only you are reading it, or you and your family, and you have locked your account in such a way that even I can't get to it. Then what's the point? Even if it's an inspiring story, we don't know it because we can't get to it, or only 5 people can get to it. So the idea was to get 60% of the story, 60% of the marks of the scores were for inspiration, and 40% was for how many people read the story. So you needed to put the story. So the person who won posted her story in more than one platform. So that's what we want. Why do we want that? It's because we want the good news to trend. We want the good news to trend. That's why we do that. If you don't like the trending good news, that's fine. Your story can be for your small group, that's okay. But there were so many inspiring stories. Even those who didn't win were hugely inspiring. It's a pity that only one could win. So congratulations to the winner. And in the next year, when we start the year, I'll speak to each of the winners. Today, I'm only talking to the AI Champion awardee, who won 20,000 rands. And of course, each of the winners got 20,000 rands. And so let me read your comments. And then after that, I'm going to invite Nomzamo to join us. She was one of the judges in the AI Champion Award. And Nomzamo will help us understand, the breadth and width of nominations, their strengths, their weaknesses. She'll give advice in terms of next time you enter awards like these, what do you foreground, what do you background, okay? But let me read your messages, and thank you for all the messages on social media, for everyone who attended, who said they enjoyed it. It was so heartwarming to be at an event, educated Black people, clean fun. We danced, we sang, we started on time, we ended on time. I stood there at the MEF, hashtag MEF photo booth. We took pictures. I took pictures with each and everyone who was there before 12 o'clock. Anyone who came after 12 o'clock, I'm so sorry that we couldn't take pictures, but I made sure that I was there from 10:30. We took pictures up to 12 o'clock when we went for the procession. Some people took videos, and I've been seeing them on social media, and all of them look mwah. Thank you so much for your support and for having the clean fun that we had. Babu Kubeka Uti, joining from KZN, Lady Smith. Good afternoon, Babu Kubeka. Sihle, we appreciate your presence. Lerato, thank you so much. Lerato was there, founder and CEO of the LNL group, and also who funded the event, who donated to the event. There were companies that helped us as donors to the event. The LNL group, JTI, South African Institute of Chemical Engineers, who funded some unemployed graduates to be there, and Udaki, who powered the Inspirational Post Award, and Digato Siputi, who funded tickets, and St. Martin's College, who bought tickets for 10 of their students to be there, who are trade graduates. I spoke at their graduation ceremony on Friday and Saturday. They were there and they were inspired by everyone who was there. Okay, Queen Vivian says, wow, MEF convocation was incredible. The energy, the graduates, the inspiration, absolutely unforgettable. Prof. Paken created pure magic. Thank you to everyone who made it spectacular. Thank you so much, Queen Vivi, for being there. You're a senior citizen. I want to be like you when I grow up. Thank you so much, sister, for always supporting, always standing up for good cause. I see you, and it's not only me. We all see your support for a good cause. You support individuals, you support organizations, and we honor you. And the event was not only successful because of me. It was successful because of my team, but also because of you who came. It wouldn't have been that successful, Queen V, if you were not there. Queen V says, MEF convocation exceeded all expectations. From inspiring speeches to amazing connections, every moment was golden. Proud to celebrate education excellence together. MEF convocation together, brilliant minds, passionate graduates, and pure inspiration. Prof. Paken, you've outdone yourself, already counting down to 2026. We will be there 2026. My heart is full. MEF convocation was everything and more. The connections, the celebration, the inspiration, absolutely priceless. Education truly is fashionable. Success, MEF, epic success, MEF convocation showcased the power of celebrating achievement, from networking to inspiring speeches, pure brilliance. Thank you, Prof, for this movement. You are so right, Prof. Cash awards are brilliant. Congrats to all the nominees and the winners. Buipelo, MEF convocation was everything and more. Thank you so much for a spectacular celebration. I had not met Buipelo. We only met online and we talked on this platform, and it was such a great pleasure to meet her yesterday. Thank you so much for attending, Buipelo. Sichaba Morajani, good afternoon, good people. Thank you, Sichaba was there. It was so nice to see you, Sichaba. I want to get on with Nomzamo now. Nomzamo, if you're online, you can join me. Otherwise, I will prompt you on WhatsApp. But a great afternoon we had. Great day we had yesterday. And it ended on time enough for young people to have their after party wherever. And itumeleng, elegance, events. Guys, you want an event, check out Eleng Events, Eleng Elegance event on Instagram. This is, I don't know how many events she's done for us. She's fantastic. A young economics graduate who started this company, I think in 2023, and she's been absolutely stunning. And she organized the event yesterday. She gave us more than, she offered us more than we asked for. And that's the wonder of having someone who understands the magnitude of the celebration, and they themselves being part of it. So thank you very much to Itumele. Now, Nomzamo, welcome, and thank you so much for making the time to talk to me today. It was such a great pleasure to have you yesterday with us. Thank you so much. Those who met you yesterday know that you work for AWS. Of course, you're here, I'm assuming, in your personal capacity.
Yeah, today it's in my personal capacity, and good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Nomzamo. Nomzamo, first let me say thank you for your sisterhood. We talk about women supporting other women. And since I met you, it's not like you've given me some money or I've given you money. But we've worked together, we've done we've had productive conversations together. And it's such a great pleasure to be collaborating with a sister like yourself. So I just wanted to say thank you. I appreciate you for you being available all the time and to show real sisterhood and also being available today. You were one of the judges for the AI Champion Award, and I want you to talk to us about the AI Champion Award. What, in your view, what worked in your view, and what maybe give us the overview. Let me not direct you. You looked at all the nominations. I made a deliberate decision not to look at the nominations because I didn't want to influence anything. So I don't even know how many were nominated and what was the breadth, the depth, and all of that. Take us through until we get to Karabo, how you made the selection on Karabo.
Yeah, so this is I think it's a passion at this point in terms of AI and where we are going as a world as far as AI is concerned. You've made the comment to say that when calculators were being introduced to the world, mathematicians and lecturers in mathematics were anxious and said we shouldn't be using those. It's going to ruin the world. We're now in the world where I think educators and possibly the world in general is very anxious and saying we shouldn't be using it. I'm also anxious because I don't know how teaching actually works now in the world where kids are using AI tools to get to the answers. And so the pedagogy of teaching is changing, and how we approach things is also changing because we see our young people, even the junior employees, are coming in and they just say, just chat GPT it or just AI it. And the way that people use their brains has to change because AI can't solve our problems, but AI can simplify how we approach problems and solve problems. We can get there faster, absolutely. But will it solve our problems? Absolutely not. And so it was interesting to look at the 21 applications that we received, or nominees that we received. And with regards to our top performers, it was the way in which they presented the problem, right? The things that we looked at, and I'm going to refer to my employer in this regard. We say being the world's most customer-centric company, we're always saying, do we have a customer problem that we're trying to solve, or are we just solving this for ourselves? And I think that's the point from which I was departing with each of the applicants to say, are we really solving a problem that exists? And also, has this person put themselves in the feet of the customer to say, am I solving something that needs solving? Because sometimes we want to solve something, but there isn't a real problem. And so with regards to each one of the applicants we looked at, or I looked at, is this a real problem? And has this person considered, in the context of South Africa or the area in which they're coming from, is this something that is, one, solvable, and two, will it be marketable? If I had to take some of my own money and put it in, is this something that's going to give us money or translate into a product that someone else will say, I'll pay good money for this, right? And then the second thing was, in terms of innovation or adoption of AI, was this something that actually could use AI to adopt and scale? right? That was the second biggest thing. And I'll talk about Karabo's solution in a second. Then there were some nominees in terms of the documentation. There were specific questions that were asked. And what I found is with some nominees, it was really great to see that people took into consideration to answer the question that was being asked. And I think my advice with most applicants, some of the programs that I run are around business development for SMEs or small, medium enterprises. Sometimes people just don't answer the question. They just answer what they think we want to hear instead of just focusing on the question itself, right? So an example is if you say that this problem exists, this customer problem exists, how are you currently solving it or looking at it and thinking through the steps that you're going to take to solve it? With some of the applicants, what we found was this very high level, no real concrete evidence of how they are either currently solving it or have a plan in terms of how it will be solved. In a lot of instances, money isn't going to solve the problems, right? Because the one big question we always ask is, if you didn't have the money, how are you going to do it? What is the thing that you're going to do that's going to solve the problem? And it's a serious question, because you've got to think of it, especially if you're a founder or you're a technology founder in particular. We have to ask you the question, if we don't give you the money, or let's assume you're asking for R1 million. If we say to you, we've only got 500,000, what's your plan then? Because if you're truly looking to solve a problem, you've got to come up with at least half the solution. And if all you're looking for is the money, then we're not going to help you. Because this means that all you want to do is to fundraise, and you're in the wrong business.
Yeah.
Right? And then another thing is, with AI in particular, there's ethical considerations that you need to take into consideration. And what we found is, I think that's an area that probably needs a lot more deep dive with everyone who thinks they want to go down the path of being an expert in the business of AI. I think we're still quite new as a country, as a region, as a continent when it comes to AI, because what we found is with quite a number of applicants, the considerations that need to be taken about using AI responsibly are still quite immature. And that's really an important thing to take into consideration, given that the biases around AI are caused by the fact that people who look like us, live in a continent like ours, are not informing these applications so that we are taken into consideration. So simple things like ensuring that we inform how AI is built so that our voice is heard and our voice is taken into consideration. So all of that must be taken and built into the AI. And if we don't do it, then it's the Western world that's just going to be running all of these ethical considerations, and then we're going to come back and cry wolf to say, but it's not taking into consideration race and color and language and nuances. But if we're not the ones building it, we can't complain. We've got to sit aside and allow it to just continue that way. But we have to build and understand these ethical nuances so that we inform what happens with AI, especially in our own countries. And what I found is that for many of the applicants, that wasn't something that was well articulated or well understood. And then the social responsibility frameworks as well. I understand that this was an application process. The social responsibility frameworks were in many of the applications not very well developed. And I think that's something that we probably, for a next round, maybe we need to do a little bit of work around educating people around those things, because it's important that we ensure that people, when we're building, especially for this type of work, we make sure that people aren't just building for the sake of building, but they build to ensure that our country and our region grows and improves, especially around those things. Then I think in the applications, one of the rules or the framework in adjudicating was that we must take into consideration that some of the ideas are going to be at pre-funding stage. So that, I'm not going to say was something that would be would have limited people from applying, but there were quite a number of pre-revenue or ideation phases, and that's exciting because it says to us that Africa is ripe for investment because people are thinking about innovative ways in which we can approach our own problems and solve for our own problems. So there were many ideas, including Garabo's idea around building an AI system for township and rural economies. I think that's something that says to us that we are ready. We are absolutely here, and we are alive with possibility. I think that for me would say that we are ready, and we probably need to get in front of angel investors, and we should build angel investors for ourselves, to say, here are the ideas that our own young people have around building sustainable solutions for the country, sustainable solutions that can also grow in sub-Saharan Africa as well, so that we build our own economies, and we stop saying that our region is growing at less than 1 or 2% per annum, and we're having these solutions that also create employment in our own neighborhoods, in our own backyards, instead of having people have to travel to find economies in the bigger centers. And with regards to Garabo's application in particular, I would say that he showed real innovation, I would say, and it's a little bit of a bias because I studied accounting. So it's a post application bias, right? While I was adjudicating, I promise everybody, I was looking at everybody with a fair eye. But I think looking at what he did, it was taking complex accounting principles and saying someone who runs a township business can actually understand accounting in a conversational manner so that they keep record of everything. I liked that idea because it gives the opportunity to grow. If you think about it, really big, hairy, audacious way, we have the opportunity to possibly create an opportunity to increase the tax base of the country, because if they can do proper accounting, they can also do proper banking. And if they do proper banking, then they'll also be able to. That's simple. We've got to think of our way, work backwards to a bigger goal, and that bigger goal essentially will be GDP of the country, right? Because right now we have, I mean, there are hundreds of millions that are just escaping the GDP. We're currently saying we're not growing, but actually some of the big economies that are not being taken into consideration is the rural economy, is the township economy, because nobody knows how much is actually flowing through the hands of those economies because we're not banking that economy. And so Karabo's solution, I think, is a good solution because it has the potential to say, if we can help with the accounting, we potentially will help with the banking, and then we'll also potentially help with the taxation system. And I think that helps to build the country as well.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much, Nomzan. You know, you just on the point of Karabo, I want to call Karabo to join us. I'm going to ask you humbly that you stay on. I'm sure people are curious because perhaps we join the dots in terms of when you evaluated, you know, there was different there were different criteria that we put on, you know, innovation and technical excellence, impact, real world contribution, responsible and ethical AI deployment, as well as team capacity. And you've spoken to some of those things, particularly the ethical employment, the impact and real world contribution, and we can probe some more. I'm trying to ask Karabo to join us. I hope he can see me. Let me just call him, because I think we also want to see want to know what was groundbreaking about Karabo's innovation. What made his innovation groundbreaking? There he is. I'm gonna welcome him here. Hello,
Good afternoon.
Karabo. Afternoon, Karabo. How are you?
Very well, Prof. Thank you. And how are you?
Very well, thank you. I'm with Nomzamo, one of the judges, and she's been referring to your work.
Yes, good afternoon, Nomzamo, and it's very great to finally meet you. Hi, Karabo.
All right. So Karabo, let's start at the beginning. You are Karabo Ramasilo Musimana ko Lemanyaneng, ko Mafikeng.
Emma, that's very true.
Okay.
I'm from Lumanyaning in Mafikeng.
Did you grow up in that rural village? I know Lomanyaneng because I spent some of my life in Mahikeng. Did you grow up in
Absolutely.
Lomanyaneng?
Yes, I grew up in Lumanyaning, born and raised. I've been there for a better part of actually all my life. I've just moved to Joburg actually in August this year. And then I did my high school in Mabatu High School in Mafikeng, and then went to the local university campus, Mafikeng campus, Northwest University.
Okay.
So yes, I've basically been in that region, the rural town, for basically all my life.
Okay. It's important for me to mention that because oftentimes people think this that you are doing is something that only people in privileged areas get access to. So that's why I wanted us to start there. So thank you for that background in terms of where you grew up and where you went to school. That you went to Mabatu
Yes.
High and Northwest University Mahikeng campus. So tell us about your company because you actually are founder of an accounting company. How does AI come into this? Talk us through that.
Yes, indeed. So I founded my company, Chartered Consilorum, in the second year undergrad varsity. So it was part of my way of raising funds for sustainability and, of course, getting into self employment,
Mm.
because I did identify that within my region, there are small businesses that need accounting, bookkeeping to be precise. So it's not high level accounting to that extent, corporate accounting, but rather making sure that your annual tax returns are done right, they reconcile well with their books on a weekly, daily, regular basis. And so these were the services I started to provide for the SMMEs in Mafikeng, my region, as an undergrad. And so the idea of it was really to grow with my clients at the time. So even at times, big projects I would take at risk. So just to allow them to see how best we can grow, and when they get funding, then
Mm.
we move to a bigger scale of accounting services post funding. So these were the projects I was taking at a time. For instance, one of the most exciting projects I did was a client who got funding for machinery, and then they were supposed to import extruder machines from China to South Africa. So then, of course, there are international tax implications of that, surcharge duties into that. So even though I started the practice at a very uh, grassroots level for small towns, I quickly got exposure because accounting and finance into business, eh, the potential of a business growing is as rapid as when they get funding. So then I got to see that when they do get funding, the dynamics really change. And it might not even be good for certain founders and CEOs, entrepreneurs to really get funding if the financial systems are not right. For instance, I should say that Extruder project was somewhat almost a disaster because of unforeseen budget implications when importing. So you get R1 million to import the machines, but you did not foresee the implication of both customs duties and VAT. You did not foresee the implications of, how you feel your SAD 500, customs documentation versus the packing list of your product. So then you end up just budgeting, put all the money into the product you were importing, then you need to now source 30% more for unforeseen international tax um, finance. So those were the implications that I saw fit. Then how do we really find a way to build a system that works for the SMMEs? Now, how I got into the space of AI and innovation is that my office in Mafikeng is actually based at the Mafikeng Innovation Hub. So then I got to really help a lot of SMMEs since September 2020 to become fundable, to build a prototype, to build apps. And then how do you post an app? How do you develop um, an electronics type of a prototype, get funding for it? What is the process? And so that's the space I've been really exposed to, immersed in the last somewhat 4 years, 5 years in Mafikeng, and then developing these solutions within that space. And then so workshops, exposure into that space has really helped. In fact, I was privileged this year in April to have gone to Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya. It was part of the African Union conference of how do you build a sustainable modern training session, you know, at a pedagogical level, but really for where we are at in this stage of AI. So it's at that stage where part of what we are building, we saw it that we integrate at the initial stages the teaching and learning part of it, not post when the app is ready, but rather how do we make this a teaching and learning platform for your businesses, for your matriculants at this stage where we are at the beginning. So then that's where we've been developing it at ground level, make it gamified at this point in time already. How do we introduce simulation, but rather also doing it not at a very high level, but at the stage where everyone can engage, at a stage where you can even use your Mobicel, for example. So this is not something we are trying to do at a very high cost level, but rather entry level engagement with clients. Yes.
So talk to us about you developed this for your company to help
Yes.
your company. You
Yes,
you
indeed.
you are using the app for your company. So far, is there anyone else who's using the app, or it's at the level of you using it and it being useful for your startup, and you haven't necessarily shared it with other people or scaled it, or even if it's not scaling it largely, talking to some other startup and saying, hey, you can use this as well.
Okay, so at the moment, because we are still at a rapid testing stage,
Yeah.
whereby we are really training the model to become more and more accurate as
Yes.
best as possible. So at the moment, we are sitting at an accuracy level of about 63%. That what does that mean? We basically, when we upload a receipt, it must classify, it must first recognize all the details on the receipt, classify them accurately, and then give us the financial report based on that receipt. So we are training the model, feeding it as much information data as possible so that it becomes more and more accurate. So from that perspective, it's not yet ready for distribution because at this point in time, it's not yet responsible to distribute it. So hence we use it internally, and we also use it with our local partners who are comfortable at that level to use it and then give us feedback. So we are testing it on pinpointed, or rather existing partners that we have around who can use it. For instance, in the Mafikeng Innovation Hub, Cisco, they do use it because we do have that level of trust and engagement. So at the moment, the app is only used by our clients.
Okay.
This
Nomzamo?
is, yeah, I was going to say this is like a super exciting application that you have, Karabo, and I almost want to have a sidebar with you because I can think of at least three different um, directions that you could take this application in, because I hear you say you're at 60% accuracy, and you sound like a very a very careful founder. Um, and I almost want to say to you, you kind of need to fail fast and just launch and test as quickly as you can, because you the thing with technology is everybody is trying to develop something bigger and better than you all the time. So don't sit on it for too long. But I would like to sidebar with you nonetheless.
Okay, thank you for that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was gonna say he's an accountant, a tech innovator who's an accountant, very careful and very conservative.
That's the one. That's the one.
That's true.
Doesn't want to
Yes.
make a mistake.
Because as a founder, you almost want to fail as fast as you can, because if you keep taking too long, someone else is going
Yeah.
to launch the exact same thing that you have launched, and then you will have missed the opportunity.
That's true. Absolutely. So okay. Going forward, then I'll work on the acceleration part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you could do, I mean, I think what we will do, Karabo, I will connect you with Nomzam. Okay.
Okay,
And also
great.
just to say, in the team of judges that we had people from different tech companies, multinationals, right?
Yes.
We had some people from big telcos who are also
Yes.
multinational. It's just that today I could get Nomzamo. Nomzamo agreed to give this. Some people are held up. I also don't want to expose all the judges, and then you start doing pulling a cat matlala on them.
Yes.
So if we only show you one judge, you can't play a cat matlala. Nobody can play a cat matlala, otherwise they'll never win, because each one of them adjudicated individually, and then they came to the audit team that then
Yes.
brought everything together under the leadership of our finance manager. So I think we'll connect you. You have won already. We'll connect you with Nomzamo, and Nomzamo can offer you. That's why she wants to sidebar with you, because sometimes in the journey of your growth. I mean, your innovation caught the eye of all the judges who were not in a meeting to discuss, to say, okay, clarifying Karabo. No, 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 no. So it's really innovative, and you've gone out there, you're using it in your space. You need all kinds of supporters along the way, and
Yeah.
Yes.
and in this process, this is part of the support that you get.
Yeah.
Great. I appreciate it absolutely. And the
Yeah.
platform.
Absolutely. I mean, when you say you're gamifying accounting, I mean, nothing gets more exciting than that,
Yeah.
because accounting is not exactly cute. If you can gamify it and
Yes.
make it and simplify it to a way that someone who's running a small business in rural South Africa or township South Africa, I was saying to Prophet a bit earlier that for me, it's bigger than just the township economy. It's how do we bring more GDP into the economy?
Yes.
And effectively, that's what your product should be able to help us try to achieve. Because then, if we're record keeping, we can collect the taxes and possibly grow the GDP if people do the right things. And I love the example that you gave around people being able to document correctly and budget correctly so that they don't find themselves being shortchanged after they've received funding, because that's one of the biggest challenges we have from in the NGO space, where when people receive funding, they don't budget properly, and they end up owing SARS. They end up not having the correct sums of money to be able to deliver on projects, because they haven't actually taken into consideration everything that needs to happen for that funding to be dispersed properly. Because when they receive it, it seems like such a large sum. But actually, if they did the budgets and the forecasts correctly, they will see that the money they have received isn't sufficient for them to go and throw a big party. It's only sufficient to run a project. And so building an AI tool for me that helps foster financial literacy for folks who, and some with some of them, I promise you, they've got PhDs, they are intelligent people, but they're really good at the subject matter. They're experts at what they know how to do, but not the finance piece. And the finance piece can get very exorbitant. So if we can build a tool that says, look, you don't necessarily need to go and hire a whole accounting firm. What you can do is use this tool that, from a foundational level, gives you everything that you need. The minute you need to start now consolidating and doing some of the more fancy things from an accounting perspective, then you need the accountant. And I think that's where people get the AI conversation wrong, because they think you can replace the entire thing. You can't. What you can replace is the foundational things, and maybe we can build some of the more complex things as you build the business and you put in some of the more complex requirements. But from a foundational perspective, people should be able to reconcile their financials, do their taxes, uh, submit to the e-filing system with SARS. They should be able to do that without necessarily bringing on a physical person. That's what I think. I'm hoping that that's what you are building at this point. And then when they start needing to do more complex transactions, then we say, okay, at this point, you need to bring Garabo in so he brings his expertise. And if he then says, no, actually, we could actually put in a new module into the system, that's a conversation they have with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Karabo,
Absolutely.
I want to ask somewhat, you are an accountant, and
Yes.
both of you, I didn't study accounting, but running a small business, Sage is something that we use. Are you
Yes.
seeing your app as in the township economy? You would advise people, Sage is great, not for you, take our one. Is that where we're going, or am I pushing it?
Yes, indeed. I think that's where we're going, because in all, the way I see it, most entrepreneurs, business people in the township grassroots level don't use your Sage and these accounting softwares anyway, because you need some level of training, technical training, to use them. And then it becomes, most of them don't really even get to that space where they can incorporate Sage and the other platforms to use. By the time they owe that, for example, because for instance, Sage, I see it as one of the best in terms of VAT reconciliations. By the time they're eligible and to pay VAT, then the VAT is payable. The damage is already done, because they haven't as yet learned to use the platform. So there's that gap that needs to be bridged. And that's where I see Eagle playing a role in that, the gap to bridge them, uh, a soft launch into how something that's quite warm to use.
So let's pause a little bit. So Eagle, you're saying Eagle is sort of a bridge to these other software programs that we are using, like to Sage, if you're in the township economy.
That's how I see it. Yes.
And why? Is it because the language is easier, the technical aspects are easier? What is it that makes it an easier one for the town people who practice in the township to use rather than Sage? And I'm asking this because I've met many young black entrepreneurs who owe SARS. They've got a
Yeah.
brilliant idea, they've got a product, they tell me they, but then they start now with their business because they owe SARS 60,000 rands, which is not much in the bigger scheme of things, given how much they can make. And
Yes.
then you think, but how do you even miss SARS when there should be technical tools that help you to do that? How does Eagle help in a way that Sage would not be able to help them? Is it cheaper? Is it what is it? Is it the language? Is it the technicality? Is it what?
Yes, it's the language, the technicality. The process is that you upload your invoices, your receipts, your bank statements, and then you get your financial reports. That's it. You just upload.
Oh,
That's the process. So the back end of it, because the name, as it's the Eagle, AEGL, is Auditive Engine Generative Ledger. So the ledger in the background is being, there's a generative process that's happening to reconcile your uploaded documents. So, but then we don't leave you there. We are not saying just upload the documents, you get your financial statements, and then that's how it goes forever. Hence the gamified LMS part of it. Then to onboard you into how does the accounting process work? For instance, as a general practitioner, doctor, for example, or how does this work as a salon? How does this work as a mechanic, as Baza? So then to get you into that game where you immerse yourself, it's a simulation process, and then you see what is this back end that's going on. At at a very introductory and build up level. Yes.
okay. So if you were to make it successful, would you have to call people in the township who run spazas, for example, and introduce them to it and say, these are the records that you need to have. Once you have that, just upload it, then your financial statement will come up, and then this and that and that. Is that
Yes, indeed.
okay?
That would be the process. And then, but yeah, it's a process of, we get you updated with your financials, and at the same time we get you into this funny massive space of learning what's the real process, what's accounting as relevant as it can be for a business owner, in, without the debits and credits.
How literate do I need to be as a business owner to be able to catch on it?
As a business owner, uh, well, you can be as literate as, um, because it's a game, it's a
It's
gamified
gamified.
part. Yes, you only have to scan the document, right? Take a picture of it, and then you upload it,
Okay.
and then you get your financial report. So I would say you need a literacy level of at least, or at most grade 9,
Oh,
to really use this.
okay.
So that's how I see it. So you just need to read for understanding to use it.
Okay. Okay. That's good.
Yes.
That's awesome, Nomzamo, because I mean it means it's really I basically need basic literacy.
Yep. Yeah,
Uh,
that sounds, it's incredible. I
it
think
is.
it would be incredible because then um, anyone and everyone should be able to do it.
Yes.
And if you are, let's assume that you don't have that reading for understanding ability,
Mm,
then your staff in the shop should be able to help you, or your children at home should be able to help you, because we're saying have the ability to read for understanding in this instance. And so it's exciting because it also will help you. It'll help you keep record of everything as a business owner, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
You keep record and track where's the money actually going. And I'm hoping that there's a module that at least gives you some graphs. If you're saying gamify it for me, that says there are graphs, there are tables where you can see this is how much came in, this is what's going out, and where is it going. And as a small business owner, I think there's a need to be able to see here's what's gone out, here's what's going. I'm just trying to think of a taxi owner now that can keep track of who's using more fuel, who's not using more fuel, what routes are they following? This could be very exciting for the township economy, and I can see how multiple users would be very excited to see the value in this, and so it would be very exciting to see you launch this into South Africa and change the way we think about small businesses, especially those that are in the underserved and under-resourced areas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Three questions. I wanna take the questions. I wanna start with Sylvester's question. Sylvester is asking, what is the model running behind this concept? Is it Gemini, Kimi, DeepSeek, or what? The model running behind. Sylvester is yeah.
Yes. So at the moment, we are running, well, we use Python to train the model. And then the back end part of it is based on, we are using DeepSeek a lot. And then to get this running. Yes. And then, but the coding, the source code is really based on Python and then the API behind.
Great. The second question, Sylvester, if you have a follow-up, you will write it on the comments. There's someone who said people are commenting there's so much potential for township economy. Someone said, how can they get in contact with you? Because they actually want to use your system. Is it possible?
To use the system?
Let
Oh,
me
yes,
let
absolutely.
Yeah, I can find, because I took a screenshot whilst let me read it for you properly. And it is Morekuludi Mankurwane said, how can we become your clients and get to it? Sort of, how can they become your clients and use your technology? Possible?
Oh, great. Well, I guess it's a matter of where they can just reach out and we can take it from there.
All right. So I'll ask them
Yes.
to slide into my DMs.
Okay.
So Teboho, if you just slide into my DMs, if you want to use the system, and then I will share them with you, Karabo. And then
Thank you.
Lerato is asking a very important question. Lerato is an entrepreneur. He wants to know, she says it's a great idea. How are you going to monetize it? And that's the part I want. That's the part I wanted to get to say, this category was about AI championship, using AI and so on. But at the end of the day, you need to make money, because
Yes.
there's no point. So do you want to talk to us about that?
Yes, indeed. So there are two revenue models that we've identified. Um, so at the base level, because we want this to be really free for your grassroots, those who are starting up. So for the first 18 months, they aren't paying anything because we are trying to get them into the system and get them to become bankable. Now, then we have another threshold. So those, say, the practices, your doctors, your professionals. So for those ones, we're looking to launch it at $40 per month as a subscription, as a software as a service subscription service tool. And then that's the first aspect of the revenue model. And then the second aspect of the revenue model that we have, without mentioning brands, we have we have engaged with a bank, a commercial bank, looking into white labeling certain features of the tool for their platforms. So then we've had that conversation with one of the commercial banks, and then that has been, in my view, the most sustainable way of this really being profitable.
Okay, great. I hope Lorato can hear. Lorato is an entrepreneur. I like your model. When you started, you saying it started by that's gonna be free for 18 months. I thought it's that model, when they try to introduce you to something, they get you to taste it. Once you like it, they start charging you.
Oh,
The first few puffs are free, and then from there you start paying when you get used to it. So
yes, because we were the ideal principle behind was that we are trying to get you to be profitable, bankable.
oh yes.
So we
So the
we can't.
system will help you to be profitable and bankable. And once you
Yes,
are, we start charging you.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
And also you'll be hooked to this thing, realizing that this thing is helping me. And then
Very true.
great, great. How did you get to $14? I was curious that you charged in dollars.
$40.
Yeah.
It was based on the rand fluctuates, so
Oh,
it's not that sustainable. So
okay.
because in any case, this is where we based it from.
Mm.
The cost of developing Eagle, most of the costs are in dollars because to rent your GPUs, we are using your Google Cloud, everything, the subscriptions I'm paying in dollars anyway. So then to reconcile that and make it to ensure that we are not making a loss, if you're gonna charge, for instance, if you're gonna say 400 rands or 500 rands, tomorrow that might be worth 250.
True.
So it's a way of stabilizing it. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, it's 6 o'clock. I'm gonna read the final comments from Wipilo's got some words of advice. He says, "Job well done, Karabo, and congratulations. As you refine your accounting app for informal businesses, remember that the real power lies in what the data is telling you. Data can reveal spending patterns, cash flow gaps, customer behavior, seasonal trends, and the true financial health of these businesses. Understanding these insights will help you build features that don't just record numbers, but actually guide business owners to make better decisions, plan ahead, and grow sustainably." But generally, there are good, very positive comments about AGL. People now understand what you do, and people are congratulating you because people are realizing why you won. Of course, people don't know that if you are a founder, the founder is a hustler for life, because the founder, Karabo, and I want it in your closing remarks to tell us how you're doing this, because the founder is the hustler for life. You have to make sure that the company survives. You do the extraordinary, and that's why at the moment you have a full-time job, a 9 to 5. You've put someone in charge there. You are tent making and so on as you go on. And sometimes people
Yes.
think if you found a company and it's doing, you just chill there and just complain that the economy is not doing this, so and so is not doing that, and you are hustling really to make your company work. In your closing remarks, tell us how is it that as a founder you are trying to make sure that you keep afloat personally, because you are a human being, you have a life, and your life
Sure.
must go on. So must your company grow. So must you pay your employees and so on. How are you managing this?
So, well, because once I got bit by this bug to develop the platform and really I committed to it, I did see that overheads were really not making sense. It was not sustainable. So, this firm can't really pay my salary and then do this platform and all these aspects. So, essentially, that's when I sought for full time employment. just to ensure that on my personal side, I'm not leeching from the company where the money could be going to the platform. And then I can afford to get a developer in. So that's when, because my first prototype was not that great because I did it myself, and of course, that's not my background. So it was just more like a sketch. So I had to get a seasoned programmer to really push it further, push it forward, and see how best we can make it more articulate, make it more appealing to the market. So to do that, I had to then ensure that I get this person on board on a full-time basis. He's the project manager of the app, and then I'm out of the way, just to ensure that I source the financing, I get this thing to become sustainable. Then that's where I took the decision to move to Joburg and from Mafikeng, and then I was able to um, at, at least getting employment is not much of a problem because of my background. So surprisingly within a week of marketing, I got a job offer that I felt was very compatible with what I needed. It was a space that I can be in, and a very comfortable space that doesn't really also conflict with what the firm is doing. So then that's how I moved to Joburg, into my 9 to 5, and I'm still adapting to that because it's very foreign. I've never been into this space since undergrad. I've just been doing my own thing. So the aspect of making sure that at 7 I'm awake and I have to be at work, and get the deliverables done. So it's the discipline is excruciating at times.
So you
And
still
then
work, you still work with your company, but you're keeping your working for your 9 to 5 as well.
Yes, indeed. So I've for the accounting side of things, there's a junior accountant working on a full-time basis at the office in Mafikeng, getting the job done. For Eagle, there's the lead programmer working on it, getting the job done. So then I myself moved to Joburg just to ensure that we get the financing part of things right. And then yeah, that's the balance, and it's not easy, but I saw it as a sustainable form of funding instead of wanting funding. This is a way of actually a creative way of funding it, and of course it's quite a sacrifice and a compromise, but it's also quite fun, and once you get into the rhythm. Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. Nomzamo, by the way, Nomzamo, I discovered that Karabo can speak German fluently. Yeah, but I suspect he's never been to Germany. Have you been?
No, I haven't. I have not been to Germany. It's just one of those skills I picked up during COVID, where because I have been exposed to Germans before in my village, those who come from the Lutheran church. So that's where I got familiar with the language. But then during COVID, that's when I just tested the language. I'd heard in movies, and it was quite. I found it quite natural to pick it up compared to other languages, and it just gelled in. And that's actually how I got the job
The
I'm in
job.
now, because
I was gonna say
yeah,
that. I was gonna say, you learn to be fluent in German, and then that also
yes.
becomes an advantage for getting a job. That's why you only spend a week and you got the job. Isn't that amazing, Nomza? I mean,
It is. He's an absolutely curious learner, Gabo.
yeah,
That's what you are. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
No wonder you have an accounting professional going into tech
Mm.
when they have a small little company having a unit that does this, and so incredible.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely.
You
No,
are you are a worthy winner.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm humbled for this. It's really I'm still processing it. I was just happy to be a part of the nominees, and because I
Hayi
imagine the standard is really high.
Karabo, ungazozibhedela la.
I-
Sonke sifuna ukuwina. Don't tell us you were just happy to be a nominee. It's nice, of course, it's nice to be a nominee, but every nominee, it's normal that
yes,
they go like, I hope I win, I hope I win.
yes,
So among
yes.
all the nominees who did this, you won. And let me tell you, I'm sure they were all worthy winners, but you stood out. You stood out.
Thank you.
And so take this honor because it is yours.
Yes,
Deservedly, you are a deserving winner, and I wish you every success in your journey. Nomzamo, I'm
thank
still
you, Prof.
yeah.
Absolutely, and I look forward to engaging with you, Karabo. I think you've as a typical accountant, you are very humble. I'm going to say to you, take that humble jacket, put it to the side, and start being a founder that looks for opportunities for your business with absolute gusto.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'll do that. I will do exactly that.
Fantastic. Well done, Karabo, and everything of the best for the future. And thank you to everyone who joined us online. This is the way to end the year, Karabo. The year of Sunday sessions. We'll meet again in January for the Sunday sessions. We have some exciting things for next year, and we will talk to winners of the other categories next year as we want to drive entrepreneurship and farming, and we will have those channels on different days so that when we get to the awards, we've got this channel focusing on AI, we've got one focusing on farming, one focusing on entrepreneurship, and we can build as we go on. And I think with people like you, Karabo, inspiring us to keep going. I mean, I was so inspired yesterday that it's important that we do this. We continue doing this because there's so much talent out there. And oftentimes we as South Africans sit and complain about what government is not doing, what they could do, how much money they should give us for a grant and so on. And all that, the grants are important, I understand. But I think we need a new conversation to say we are talented, we are whatever, this is what we're doing. And this is what we can build and we start holding hands. Those who can mobilize resources help others who need resources to build their innovations to scale. And so I'm encouraged and thank you very much to the two of you for talking to me this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Bye bye.